going to get started with our morning. Thank you all for coming. My name's Gabrielle Sarlo, and I will be the Master of Ceremonies here today. As a director on the Sault Chamber of Commerce Board, I would like to welcome you all to the 18th Annual Women in Business Breakfast. Yes, thank you. We are at max capacity here this morning, which is amazing to see. On behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and the sponsor of this great event, we'd like to acknowledge some of those who have helped make this great event possible. We have Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation as a gold sponsor here today, the Economic Development Corporation and Millworks Centre for Entrepreneurship, the BDC, and Northwood Funeral Home. We thank you all for taking the time from your busy lives and schedules to join us here this morning. Sault Ste. Marie is home to many talented and knowledgeable women of vision. We'll be hearing from a number of empowering women on our panel here this morning who have agreed to share their experiences of what it truly means to be a woman in business. They will share their experiences and stories and highlight some of their contributions to their respective industries, networks, and our community as a whole. We look forward to hearing their testimonies in just a short while. Special guests in attendance here today, and I will list a few of them. We want to thank some of our board members, Marcus Wilson and Derek Jackson, for helping at the registration table today. Some other board members of the Chamber that are in attendance are Trish Porco, Karen Bird, we have President Don Mitchell, and past president and last year's recipient of the Athena Award for Leadership, Monica Dale. We also have councillors Donna Hilsinger and CAO Al Horseman. So thank you all for being here today. So it is a special day here, and that's what we're here to celebrate. It's International Women's Day. And to celebrate women in business, we thought it was fitting to host this breakfast on such a special day, March 8th, to observe International Women's Day. Each year on International Women's Day, women around the world gather together to celebrate the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. This year's campaign theme is Balance for Better. The future is exciting. Let's build a gender-balanced world. Everyone has a part to play, all the time, everywhere. From grassroots activism to worldwide action, we are entering an exciting period of history where the world expects balance. We notice its absence and we celebrate its presence. Balance drives a better working world. Let's help create a balance for better. So today, we not only celebrate women in business and International Women's Day, but we also celebrate women in our community who have shown leadership, and we will be doing that by presenting the prestigious and internationally recognized Athena Leadership Award. A special thank you to Sault College for sponsoring this award yet again this year. At this time, I am going to ask Lisa Bell Murray, representing our gold sponsor of the event, the OLG, to come say a few words. Lisa?
Good morning, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. Quite a day to celebrate. I'm pleased to say a few words here on behalf of our corporation, and I'd like to start by thanking the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce for hosting the Women in Breakfast Business Breakfast for the 18th year. This is an amazing event, and it's an amazing turnout. Again, I can't help but echo what was previously said. I'd like to thank today's panel members for being here and agreeing to share part of your stories with everyone here today. Everyone brings a different perspective and experiences to the discussion. Each of you will be a source of inspiration and empowerment for women in our community. An American poet, Adrienne Rich, once said, "The most important thing one woman can do for another is to eliminate and expand her sense of actual possibilities." That's what today's breakfast is all about and why it's such an important event. All of us, especially those of us in leadership positions, we have the opportunity and we have the privilege to be a source of encouragement and inspiration to other women in our organizations and in our communities. That's why I'm very proud to be part of OLG's Women's Network, co-sponsor or co-chair, and I enjoy doing that. It helps me provide a difference in our organization. We launched our network 2 years ago, and we launched it on International Women's Day. Our mission is to bring great people, minds, and ideas together to establish connections and to expand opportunities for the advancement and development of women at OLG. I'd like to acknowledge my fellow members, many of who are with us here today, for everything that you bring to the network and the time and the commitment you make to make that better for us at OLG. The Women's Network is a really important part of OLG's diversity and inclusion strategy. We developed the strategy because we know that our future success greatly depends on our ability to value and foster diversity in our organization. Promoting diversity and inclusion is really important to OLG and to all of us, and we're very proud to be part of the 2018 Women in Breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for those great words. It is great to see that OLG prioritizes and makes an effort with women in business. So once again, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for their part in making today's event a success. So as you will see, and as we've noted earlier, we will have a panel of women speaking here today on their experiences. We revamped the format of this event a few years ago, 2 years ago, and it is now including this panel. We've had great feedback, and in response to that feedback, we have chosen to have the panel again this year. As you have guessed, we have great women, and I know you will not be disappointed with those who will be speaking here today. It is our hope that you will find value in the conversations had in this room today, and that you'll be able to apply the wisdom and knowledge gained from this community of impactful leaders to help you achieve your own goals. Many of you know today's moderator as one of the faces of local online media. She is a talented journalist and local media personality. We all know her from her incredibly popular Sue Today series, Random Acts of Kindness, where she showcases some of the amazing and inspiring individuals in our great community. We are pleased to have Jasmine Rowley as our panel discussion today. Jasmine is the Director of Communications and Community Engagement for Village Media. She's been working in the realm of communication, media, and public relations across Canada for over a decade. She has held various roles in the broadcasting industry, including working as a news anchor, reporter, host, producer, and news writer for television, radio, and internet. In addition to her background in media, Jasmine has built a vast portfolio in public relations and event management. She has completed a variety of results-driven campaigns for clients across the country, including top actors, musicians, authors, and many events for television and film productions. In her role now at Village Media, Jasmine is able to combine her passion for engaging the community both in front and behind the camera. We would like to also thank Sue today for sponsoring the Step and Repeat paparazzi that we had in the foyer this morning. Please join me in welcoming Jasmine to the stage.
Well, thank you for the lovely introduction. Usually I'm introducing people, so I don't get to hear people talk about me. Thank you. This morning we have touched upon the significance of the Women in Business Breakfast, why today is the perfect day to host this event, and the value that we hope can be gained from attending. I'm honored to moderate this panel discussion with inspiring and successful local businesswomen. It's truly moving for me to look around the room and see so many talented and hardworking women, including the women I am lucky to work with, as well as countless entrepreneurs and businesswomen from all fields that are truly making a huge impact in our community. So let's get right to it and introduce you to our panel members. First off, we have Francine Floriani. Since her beginning in the car business at a small dealership on Great Northern Road to the new large and modern present location, Francine has brought about a new spin to the car buying experience for her customers. Being the only female car dealer in a normally male-dominated business, she knows precisely what it's like to overcome challenges. Francine started her business career in her husband's orthodontic practice as the office manager and acquired over 20 years of management and customer service experience. In 2012, when the opportunity presented itself for her to run the local Honda dealership, Great Lakes Honda, she jumped in with enthusiasm. Whether buying braces for your kids or buying a new car, she saw this opportunity as a way of making people smile. In 2018, she acquired another business, Our Driving School, and is presently building a brand new state-of-the-art classroom for teaching driver beginner education and other services. Bringing her excellent skills of customer service along with her values of transparency and community involvement, she looks forward to expanding the services of this new business. Next, we have Christina Koprash. Christina is the founder and owner of Crush Clothing Boutique here in Sault Ste. Marie. She opened Crush almost 6 years ago at the very young age of 18. I don't even remember what I was doing at 18, but I definitely wasn't opening businesses. When she noticed a void in our city for a women's boutique that offered fashions and sizes for all types of women, all sizes and ages. Christina notes that she was raised by two incredible entrepreneurial parents who instilled upon her countless core values, including an amazing work ethic. Christina strives to have a boutique that carries the best brands and styles in Northern Ontario, but her main goal is, and always has been, to spread body confidence and ensure all women feel beautiful in what they're wearing. She is passionate about Sault Ste. Marie and what it has to offer up-and-coming youth. Christina is also the recipient of the Chamber of Commerce 2017 Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Welcome, Christina. And next up, we have an international panelist. So Maxine Anderson is a lifelong entrepreneur from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, who started her business career selling newspapers at age 11. At just 17 years old, she became one of the area's first certified fitness instructors and later turned her passion for health and fitness into a successful brick-and-mortar health club. She has continued to be successful in the fitness industry for 30-plus years. Max taught classes as an adjunct professor at Lake Superior State University for over a decade and is currently a top-producing realtor with 15 years in the real estate industry. An interesting fact about Max is she was a local radio personality on the WYSS 99.5 morning show. In 2002, Max was the second woman to serve as the president of the Rotary Club in Sault, Michigan. Max joins us today as the facilitator of the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Women in Business Organization. 3 years ago, she revitalized this group from 4 women meeting inconsistently to over 50 women meeting monthly. She currently serves on the board of the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Chamber of Commerce, and she is a trustee for the War Memorial Hospital. Max is a member of the National Speaker Association and is currently growing her company, Max PR, where she works with purpose-driven women to build their confidence to network, grow relationships, and expand their opportunities. And last but certainly not least, we have Lisa Bell Murray. Lisa Bell Murray is an accomplished finance professional with more than 29 years of public sector experience, joining the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation in 1990 and having progressively responsible roles during her career at OLG. She is now OLG's senior executive in Sault Ste. Marie and is the Crown Corporation's senior vice president and chief financial officer. Lisa is responsible for overall financial risk management of the company and for multiple corporate functions, including financial planning, controllership, treasury, procurement, facilities, and administration. Ms. Bell Murray brings experience in providing stewardship and advice to executives and other business partners, influencing corporate decisions and processes that support an accountable framework and regulatory legislation compliance. She is an active member of our community and currently sits on the board of directors of the Sault Area Hospital and the audit committee of the Interprovincial Lottery Corporation and has held previous board roles with Algoma University and the Group Health Centre. Lisa is an active participant with many key local initiatives that involve OLG and the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Centre. She has worked closely on local initiatives with the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Centre that involve both financial and human resource components of the lottery and gaming initiatives for the city, and I'm tired just reading it, so I don't know how you do it. Welcome, Lisa Bell Murray. So thank you for the warm welcome for our panel members. As Gabrielle touched on just a few moments ago, the purpose of this panel is to provide insight, advice, encouragement, and success stories, and maybe even some lessons learned, because you learn the most from the mistakes. So share those with us as well. In an effort to stay on schedule and to accommodate as many questions from the floor as possible, I'm going to jump right in. So I'll just remind the panel members that we're going to try to keep the answers to under 2 minutes, but I don't have a bell or anything, so there's like no Oscar music to play you off. Just try to keep it short if you can. As you know, today is International Women's Day, and this year's theme is Balance for Better. Balance is not a women's issue, it's a business issue. The race is on for the gender-balanced boardroom, a gender-balanced government, gender-balanced media coverage, a gender balance of employees, more gender balance in wealth, gender-balanced sports coverage, et cetera, et cetera. The issue is essential for economies and communities to thrive. I'll ask each of the panelists to answer the following question. What do you see as the most positive move toward gender balance in the last decade, and what do you think is the most important next step nationally or internationally to come closer to true gender balance? And I'll start with you, Francie.
I think for women, gender balance is, I think that's a progressive way that the society is moving. I think that what has really changed in the last decade is social media for women, because we love to post things, we like to be out there, and I think that because of that, we've created a kind of a new movement of, hey, we're important in the world. I was just reading an article last night about that, and it talked about turning diversity challenges into innovation challenges. And so what we see is how companies now are putting themselves out there and making their, when you say, for instance, when you're putting out a job posting, they are making it very neutral so that it attracts more people, not just men. And so they're finding that there's these different types of software that you can buy that can, make it so that it's very gender neutral. And they did experiments on that when they advertised a posting for a symphony orchestra players, musicians. And they found that when they did that, a whole bunch of women applied because it was just kind of like that non-specific masculine type of posting. So I think technology is going to be changing that for us as women, and I think social media has already changed that face for gender balance.
Great, thank you.
I don't know how close this is supposed to be either. That was a great answer. And firsthand, I definitely see that as well with my business. I mean, it thrives from social media. I think the biggest change I've seen in the recent decade, and even more so in the recent 3 or 4 years, is women entrepreneurs, especially here in Sault Ste. Marie. So to kind of bring the question to the Sioux, I mean, I could name off 20 women business owners. I can see a few in the crowd here today that I personally support that are here in Sault Ste. Marie, and they've opened their businesses in the last couple of years. I think that's a trend now where women feel a little bit more confident and comfortable getting into their own business, and it doesn't feel like it's a small box that you have to be a male or that it needs to be male dominated in order to be successful. And so that's a shift that I think is wonderful and that we see happening more and more. Internationally and nationally, I'd love to see, of course, more females in the trades and more even when it comes to female sports. You don't see it, nobody gets as excited to watch women's sports as they do to watch male sports. So that's, those types of things I would love to see just kind of promoted a little bit more. I think we still have a lot of work to do, but we've definitely come a far way.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. One of the things that I find is that anyone in an extremist and extremist feminist or even a men's rights activist, it can make it very challenging to have that conversation if you're an extremist. And balance, when we're talking about balance, life is like a pendulum, correct? I mean, there's days that we're way to the right and way to the left, so balance is always a challenge when we're talking about gender balance. Life is a pendulum, and so is trying to find that balance, stabilizing, it's more about finding a center balance. The message of the glass ceiling message of I am woman, hear me roar, I think the new message really needs to be, I am educated, I am confident, and I am capable. I think that that message is so important to get to our young women so that we can have more balance. So we're not swinging to the right and swinging to the left, but we become together, men, women, boys, girls, with confidence, education, confidence, and knowing that we're capable. At the end of the day, knowledge is power, but action is key. So we really need to encourage action as we raise our children to get educated. And it doesn't necessarily mean formal education. Life education. Life makes us more aware of balance.
So I would look at it when I think of reflect upon from our organization. I think what's changed the most is actually you can talk about gender balance or gender imbalance. So you can actually openly have conversations now about diversity and inclusion, and the top of the house is supporting it. I think what's changed is with an intentional focus on it, we're starting to see changes in the organization. In our organization, for example, our chief executive officer intentionally focused on balancing his executive table. We have a balanced board of directors. In balancing that executive table, to your point, it was not hard to find women who were capable of doing the roles that we needed. It wasn't a hard search. So balancing it was really a task that's easy if you have an intentional focus to do it. The other point I would say is that it's acceptable now when you walk into a room and you see 9 men in a meeting and 1 woman, it's acceptable to actually declare that that's not right and that there has to be a change. So the acceptance, I think, is coming, and the acknowledgement that you can raise your voice and not be called a feminist is a really important change that's happened, and I think that will continue to happen.
On to question 2, Francine. As a busy professional who is also deeply involved in the community, how do you manage or maintain a work-life balance? Have you had to sacrifice anything personally or professionally at any point in your career, or say no to involvement in something that you genuinely wanted to pursue? In short, please tell me your secrets, because I can barely make it out the door with 2 kids in snowsuits every morning. Okay? So tell me everything.
I don't have any kids, so I don't know how you can do it. Good for you. It's difficult at times, like you talked about the pendulum and the balance, and you're always thinking, is this more important? Is this more important? You're trying to find that middle ground where you're not pulling your hair out. It's challenging, for sure. I think, for me, I think the use of technology has really been helpful. I mean, now we're so connected with our telephones that we can, multitask as women. We're great at that, we know that. But also you need to delegate. I think that sometimes we're afraid that, I think maybe I should do this because I'm going to do it better, I'm going to do it faster. We need to let other people kind of take over, and we need to be better at delegating. And I think also knowing when to say no. I think as women, we often say, you know what, yeah, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And then we don't know how to actually say, you know what, this is too much. I think we need to realize that sometimes, that we have to take a breath and say, you know what, I would love to do that, but I just can't right now. And I think that's important as well. What did I have to give up? I had to give up my violin. When I took over the dealership, I was taking lessons, I was playing great, and I had hopes of playing in a little band, and now it's like that had to take the side step, but someday I'll get back to it. I have to tune it first because it's like way out of tune, but someday I'll get to that.
Great answers. Okay, so say no and delegate. I wrote notes. That's what Christina, can you describe the process by which you made the decision to become an entrepreneur? Was there a pivotal moment for you? And was your age or gender ever a concern? And did you experience roadblocks or ever feel intimidated?
Okay, this is a big question. I'll try to be 2 minutes. So I didn't really have a pivotal moment where I woke up one day and thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I would say I was maybe born wanting to be an entrepreneur. I think being raised by two parents who worked so hard their whole lives, I was always involved in their businesses, whether that meant filing at 8 years old and probably doing it completely wrong, or running our family ice cream parlor when I was 16. I would say if there was a pivotal moment, when I was 16 and 17, again, very young, my mom had me manage our family ice cream parlor. And by manage, that meant hiring, terminating employees. It meant working 12 to 14 hours. I was there all the time. And it was probably those couple of summers where if there was a pivotal moment, that was it. Because through all the hard work and trying to be taken seriously when you're so young, I realized that that is what I wanted to do. So at 18, I had applied for an OHFC grant, and I had received it, and I decided it's time to start what I want to do. And being so young, to your question, I definitely struggled with that. I struggled with being taken seriously. Having a women's clothing store, I struggled with having women come in the store and assume that the only things in there were for 18-year-olds, when in fact my target market is closer to 30 to 55, 60. Of course, there's clothing that would be suitable for young girls, and there's clothing that is suitable for somebody. I have women in their 80s that shop from me. So I think that was probably one of the hardest parts, was just being so young. For a while, I almost felt like I needed to lie about my age because somebody wouldn't take me seriously. And I would say it's been in the last 2 to 3 years that, I'm so confident within myself now, within my business. I think I finally have proved myself. But I would say it was a shame that I had to deal with that for the first couple of years. But you have to, in any business, I think you have to gain the trust of your customers and clients. And that's what I had to do.
Here you are. Awesome. Max, what do you think we need to do to inspire more female leaders? What steps can we all take to move things forward and accelerate change? And do you see any different approaches between the US and Canada in general?
First of all, I want to say to you, I admire you so much. I did lie about my age when I started my business, and so it's okay sometimes. I also lied, and I would often, as I was starting my business in a health club industry in the 90s, getting into vendors and getting to talk to people about my business as Maxine never worked. But when I started setting appointments for Max, Max got into all kinds of appointments, and I was able to grow my business. And when I walked in the door as an almost 6-foot blonde, I pretty much had control of the situation because they expected Mr. Clean or something like that. So it's okay. So yay for Max. Yeah. So if you're raising a daughter or a grandchild, give them a boy name. It works marvelous. International relationships, I have to say, being here, we are, and I'm going to go back to my analogy of fitness because that's where my life is at. If you look at your muscles, a muscle is like this with many fibers inside. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'll take less than 2 minutes. Will you please stand up, please, real quickly. We're going to be real quick on this. Stand on one foot, please, real quickly. Stand on one foot. So what you are doing right now, your muscle opens up to fibers. And just in this room, internationally, all the fibers are working together all the time. Sometimes the weak ones have to do a little bit more work and they shake. Muscle fibers shaking is good. Convulsions, not good. But shaking, good. Muscle fibers shaking. But as they grow and come stronger, they come together and become a stronger muscle. As we work internationally, just like our muscles and our body, our human body work, as the muscle fibers come together and grow stronger, we collectively become stronger. Just like the muscles in our body, we become stronger internationally together as women who are educated, you are confident, And most of you are absolutely beyond capable of reaching your dreams internationally. So if your muscle fibers are still shaking, that's okay. Your mind has to keep talking to your muscles, to your heart, to your brain to grow and become stronger. So I feel that relationships internationally and together are absolutely just as important as your body and your muscles.
Sue at OLG, and I was surprised where it said that, generally speaking, a man will apply for a role if they have 60% of what the qualifications are. A woman won't apply for that same role unless she's sure she has 100% of the qualifications. It shocked me, and I think that's really the core of it is believe in yourself, you can do it, take the risk, and move on.
Great, thank you. Francine, I noted in your introduction that you now, in your current role as a dealer principal in the automotive sector, find yourself in a sector that has traditionally been male-dominated. What are some of the steps that you have taken to bring more balance to that industry locally, and what can other organizations do to follow suit?
It's interesting because I think back of when I went to my first Honda meeting, and there were so many men. And I was like, oh boy, what am I doing here? But what I did is I just said, you know what, I don't know anybody here, but I'm going to just go around and introduce myself and tell them who I am. And then I started to make more friends, and now when I go to meetings, they're all like, hey, Francine, how are you? It's a great feeling to be recognized in a role. What kind of steps do we have to do, or how I do it to bring more gender balance? I think I hire a lot of women in the dealership. I think women are capable. They're certainly qualified. When it comes to managers, salespeople, they're process-driven. We listen. We're great at customer service. Those are all things that men sometimes struggle with that. And I don't want to, bash men either, because I don't think that's what it's about. But I think it's about how we have really good qualities that are exceptional for businesses, and I think that we all have those. Lastly, I think I'd like to talk a little bit about. I think the other thing we have to do is we have to create some relationships with other women. We have to be able to communicate. For instance, with our driving school, I got together with the Sault Community Career Center, and we have a partnership where we offer driving lessons for women from Syria. And this is empowering them to get a job, drive their kids, involve them in sports, even themselves getting into different activities. I think that's important. So creating some relationships with other women, I think that's also a way that we can create better gender balance.
Fantastic. Christina, as the Chamber's 2017 Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, what advice would you give to young women who are considering a career in business or as an entrepreneur? And what would you tell them to expect and be prepared to deal with when they're trying that route?
So, I think any young girl, woman who wants to get into business, my first piece of advice is, like Lisa said, take the risk. Jump into it. There's no better time, in my opinion, than when you're young, because now at almost 25 years old, I feel like I'm ready. My business has now already been established. I'm only 25. So if you're young, take the risk now. I think you should take the risk anytime, but as a young girl, that's the perfect time. I also would say to just stay true to yourself. That's probably my biggest piece of advice. I think as a woman in general, it's really easy for people to feel the need to walk all over you. As we're here today, that's definitely something that I think is starting to diminish, but certainly people will try and change you, try and tell you how to run your business, tell you how to do your job, when it's one thing to take advice from those that have been in business forever. And I think that's very, very important. You need to learn as much as you can, but it's another thing to stay true to yourself. I know especially when I first got into this business, I had so many people try to tell me what I should be carrying in the store. when I would go to buying shows, what is on trend, what's selling like crazy, and I know the things that women want to wear here in Sault Ste. Marie, and I'm learning just from what women ask for. So instead of doing what everybody else told me to do, I stayed true to myself, and I think it's definitely done me well so far. So that's my piece of advice.
Great, thank you. Max, you have made the success of the Sault, Michigan Women's Network a personal effort. In your opinion, why is a strong support system so important for businesswomen?
Well, one of the things that we've heard here today is the word confidence. And I feel very passionate about educating other women that confidence is not knowing the answer, it's knowing where to go and get the answer. And so as a 50-year-old businesswoman who started out as young as you, I used to shit on people all the time. You should do this and you should do that. And I realized in my age that I need to aspire to inspire others, leave a legacy. As we grow as women, confident women, we didn't know where the answer was, but then we learned to know where to go and get the answer, and that's what gave us confidence. So, part of doing that is intentional. And if I can leave anything in your mind, is be intentional. IPP, intentional professional positioning. Get yourself with women groups like this, like-minded people who will support you and help you find the answer, which will in turn make you more confident.
Lisa, your role as Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for a provincial crown corporation must demand a lot of time. How do you manage a work-life balance?
It's actually a really tough question because I think it's something that I have been chasing for 30-some years. I don't really think I've captured it yet. I think with age, comes a different perspective on priorities, so that's I think naturally what happens. I think some of the concepts have come up in conversation here today already. Delegation, trusting others, trusting that you perhaps can't be the super mom or the super nana that you think you want to be, and you have to make your choices. It's tough though, and I don't really say I have a good answer for it. It's intentional, to use the word intentional. You actually have to strive for that balance and recognize that you have limitations. But it's a journey. It's been a 30-year journey. It's not been an easy one. It's using your support network and not being afraid or feel like you're weak to use your support network. My husband in my career was extremely helpful in helping with my children in the early years when we were doing the taking and running around and all those sorts of things. But it's having the courage to accept that you really just can't do it all and trying to let go of some things. But it's not an easy journey.
Great, thanks. So we now have a few moments to open up questions to the floor. If there's anyone in the room who has a question for any of our panelists. Okay. There, Marnie, shout it out.
Good morning, thanks, Jasmine. My question is for Christina. Christina, if you could describe your ideal dream day to do whatever you want, with whoever you want, wherever in the world you want, how would that day look from the time you get up until the time you go to bed?
Wow. But keep it PG, please.
Thanks, Marnie. That's a great question. Definitely puts me on the spot. To be honest, I'm a very simple person when it comes to my life outside of work. I think my perfect day would be spent with my fiance, just relaxing, to be quite honest. I love traveling, I love adventure, even if that meant us just kind of by the pool, relaxing with a glass of wine, that would be great. I find as a business owner, I'm sure everybody up here can agree, your life is so hectic and you're always turned on. Every time I go to work, every time I'm out and about, and I love it, don't get me wrong, but you're always on. So to have a day where I don't have to be on and I can sit in silence, maybe read a book, and just enjoy the company of family, that would be my perfect day.
same. It's a good answer. Is there anyone else that has a question? Brenda.
My question is for Max. So, Max, you're actively engaged in the business community on the American side, but I know that you've done a lot of networking here on the Canadian side as well over the years, very well established in both countries. I'm wondering if you have noticed a difference in women's approach to business in Canada versus the US.
Oh, yeah. The difference. There's a lot of difference, but mostly the same. I think that what I have found here, when I first came to this first breakfast meeting, I walked into a room of 300 women, like-minded women. I was so inspired. And then, and Marnie and I said that it felt like Christmas, like the energy in here. So, you know, Sault, Ontario, in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, you guys are electrifying. You are electrifying. And when in my Sault, Michigan group, it took me from 4 people to get that electrifying going to the 50 women who we have. And several of the women sitting at that back table attend regularly to the Sault, Michigan group. So the difference was you guys just have this amazing vibe here, and we're growing that in Sault, Michigan. But I think in Sault, Michigan, we jokingly say we're kind of behind the times. I mean, your population is like 80,000, right? Close to 80,000. We're a population of 15,000. And so we're just building confidence in the business world with women and growing that. So by merging the two over the last few years and bringing our women to your meetings and your women coming to ours and doing business in each other's businesses, you know, the difference is that your energy is contagious, and I love it.
Are there any other questions? Yeah.
So this is for all of you, or anyone that wants to answer. For a woman that wants to, say, get started networking, what would you suggest? Where would you suggest that they start?
Well, you're doing it right now. Yeah, so you've started, but intentional. Right? I think we all agree. It's just, it has to be intentional. You have to walk in a room with purpose and put yourself in that position, just like she said when she went with all those men. She had to go in the bathroom and just go, okay, I'm going to take it on. And then you walk in the room with that energy, right? You have to create energy, and then energy creates energy. And as soon as she started talking to them, like it just kind of, I'm sure, for all of us, like energy, you either affect or infect people. And if you walk in, you know, affecting people, then, you know, take it away. Like, I'm sure you can say that's what it was energy.
Yes, and not being afraid of just putting yourself out there. I think a lot of women underestimate themselves, and they think, oh, you know what, that's not for me, or how am I going to do this? I think you just got to take a leap of faith and just do it, like Nike.
I have to agree with you on that, because I had the hardest time with this when I started out. I remember, and even now it's something I'm constantly working on, and I think that's it as well, is you need to work on it. And you need to work on building that confidence, going up to somebody that you don't even know, and like Francine said, shaking their hand and introducing yourself. And this is something for me I had a really hard time with, because I'm out there, I'm on social media, I talk to all these people all the time, but I never really, you know, I don't talk to thousands of people in person all the time. So I'm great in the store, and as soon as you take me out of my store, I can get so shy, which is sometimes hard to believe for people because I'm always talking on your phone. So it's something that I've had to work on and really push myself out of my comfort zone, and I would say that that's such a good thing to do. Just push yourself out of your comfort zone and you'll feel so much better after.
I would add, bring a friend, bring a colleague, bring someone that can help you feel more confident, because two going together will take away some of the nervousness. So use your allies, use your friends and others to help you.
As a nation, Canada has participated in all of the major world conflicts. In the Sault area alone, over 10,000 men and women have enlisted in the Canadian Armed Forces. The Veterans Commemorative Monument aims to cement the legacy of the Canadian Armed Forces in stone. It will highlight the bravery, strength, courage, and sacrifice of our servicemen and women. In times of need, they volunteered to serve us. Now it is our time to thank and recognize their sacrifice. You can help honor our men and women of service by donating today to help construct this special, one-of-a-kind monument. Visit thosewhoserve.ca to find out how to donate and more.
Okay, I've got one last question for the panel then. And this will be for everybody. What are some novice mistakes that you made in the beginning of your career that you see happening often?
Me first? All right. It's funny because we got a little sneak peek of the questions, and I was like, boy, did I ever make any mistakes? I can't remember. Just kidding. One of the funny things, my husband reminded me, because we were having a drink last night, and he said, well, don't you remember when you took over the dealership, you thought you could run the technicians like hygienists? I was like, the technicians are worse than hygienists, I can tell you that. They are prima madonnas, and I think there's some of people out there will know a few technicians. But so I think that was how one of the mistakes is I thought that maybe I could take some things from my past job and into this job, and I could schedule and put everybody in the same position. But I realized that, first of all, it's a different industry altogether. There are some things that are still very similar. I mean, we are still dealing with people, and to help people is what we do. But that was kind of a novice mistake, to think that I could just kind of go in there and schedule them and they'd listen to me. And they're like, no, Francine, it doesn't work like that.
I would say my novice mistake goes back to what Francine said earlier about delegating. When I started, I mean, it was just me. I would run my store. I actually was still in college, and then I would leave college and go to the store. And then I realized, for me, I'm not preaching this to anybody by any means, but I realized, why am I trying to be in school and run a business at the same time? So I ended up quitting college, which is probably very surprising to a lot of people, and went hands-on in the store. And it was just me for almost the first year. I just worked every day by myself. And then as it got busier, as I expanded, I thought I could still do everything by myself. And I realized, okay, Christina, you can't do everything by yourself. Even when it came to pricing, steaming, pulling things out of the back, I wouldn't allow my staff to, if I'm not here, don't take anything out. Or if I'm not here, I need to make sure that it's steamed properly. And it's steaming. It's really not that difficult. But those are things that I finally, got to push on to other people. And I'm so much happier now. And everyone's capable. Women are capable. And so I think as a woman, I had to also understand that the girls that work for me and guys that have worked for me in the past are just as capable as I am. So that was something I learned.
I'm just going to concur with you, because I think novice, and probably even still to this day a little bit, I'm a person who feels like you have to do it all, and it does take a village. It absolutely takes a village to make things work. And I was always one of those people in business that would should on people, like I was saying to you, you should do this and you should do that, instead of letting them work in their power and what they could do. Like the steamer, I'm sure someone could steam better than you, and perhaps not better, but in a better time use or whatever. So I think we all, as novice, I think that's absolutely one of the biggest things. We try to take it on ourselves because we feel everyone should do it our way because we have the vision. And then we just have to open ourselves to letting other people come in and bring their elements of what they can bring to your growth, and learn from that, because we don't know it all, and that's it. It takes a village, and we have to learn from others and their talents.
So I would echo what has been said here as well, and I could add a different dimension, and I think finding the time to shut down. We've talked about finding the time to shut down. So years ago, you had to go into the office to do your work because you didn't have a laptop, you didn't had connectivity, but you were leaving your home, you were doing your work, and then going home late. Now your work comes home with you because you have your phones and your multiple phones. And so mentally, I think trying to find that time to shut off, that continues to be an expanding challenge, I think, for us.
Great, thank you. And thank you to the panel for sharing today. It was insightful, it was funny and intelligent, like all of you. So thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. I'll end on this note. It was Eleanor Roosevelt who famously said, "Well-behaved women rarely make history." So what I hope from you today is that you all keep creating change and stirring things up in Sault Ste. Marie.
Great. Thank you, Jasmine, for being such a great moderator, and thank you, panelists, for all your insight. You can find your ways to your tables now, and we'll continue on. I took a note of something that Max mentioned, and I wrote it here in a note on my phone. And she said, "Knowledge is power, action is key." And that resonated with me. So thank you for those very inspirational words and all the tidbits of help, advice, all of those things that were shared today. Thank you. So as we also know today, we are not just hearing from our panelists or gathering together, we are also recognizing someone in this room who is deserving of a special award. So at this breakfast, we are presenting an Athena Award, and this award is honoring one of the peers for their leadership in our community. So I'm going to review just how this nominee was selected and how the candidates were judged. You will see that there is a little card on your table that lists all of the nominees for this year. We had so many great nominations, so it was amazing. I wasn't part of the nomination process, as you will find out, but these are the candidates that were being judged who had let their names stand. So nominations for the Athena Leadership Award were open to the public, and nominees were contacted to confirm if they wished to let their nomination stand, like I mentioned. All final nomination packages were submitted to an independent judging panel drawn from the chamber membership. These members form a group of individuals with exceptional integrity and business experience across a variety of sectors. This panel also consisted of past Athena Award recipients. So we would like to mention that there is no participation by the Chamber Board of Directors, and the only involvement that the Chamber has is two staff members, Bob and Don, who had helped facilitate the process. Submissions were assessed through a numeric scoring process and measured on the nominee's ability to demonstrate their qualifications against the award criteria. The recipient is determined by the nominee receiving the highest combined average of scores from the judges. This year, the judging committee tasked with determining the recipient of the Athena Leadership Award consisted of the following chamber volunteers: John Progmet, Josh Ingram, Karen Senecal, Lana Fregamini, Lori Nacarado, Maureen Dodds, Crystal Knutson, Monica Dale, and Linda Ryan. So we would like to thank this judging committee for volunteering their time and for ensuring the proper processes were followed. Ladies and a few gentlemen, we are now going to present the Athena Award. Recognizing someone in our community for their achievements is most certainly a great way to highlight this morning's event. So I'd like to ask Janice Beatty at Sault College, sponsor of the Athena Leadership Award, to join us on stage to present this honor.
Good morning, everyone. Sault College is so proud to sponsor this award because we know that education is one of the key factors in empowering women. So we're very, very pleased to be here today. The Athena Leadership Award was inspired by the goddess of Greek mythology, known for her strength, courage, wisdom, and enlightenment. The award is unique in both scope, local, national, and international, and is presented to a woman or man who is honored for professional excellence, community service, and for actively assisting women in their attainment of professional excellence and leadership skills. This year, the Chamber of Commerce received 14 nominations. That's phenomenal. All nominees are very talented, deserving women. All are true examples of professional excellence, community service, and tremendous leadership skills, and all are deserving of the nominations. You do see on your tables the little cards, so you can see the names of all 14 nominees. However, as difficult a job the judging committee had, and as close the debate was, a recipient was determined. This year's recipient was described as a role model for women in our community, resulting from her professional excellence, her ability to network and engage people, and her achievements, not only within her professional industry, but also externally and in her professional life. She is a highly motivated person with a deep sense of rallying community spirit. Building on success and achievement, she is an individual whose volunteer contribution outside of work and family is a testament to improving the quality of life for Sault Ste. Marie and her Indigenous community. She is someone whose peers have witnessed firsthand her ability to guide and mentor, but also champion causes that advance not only the principles of International Women's Day, Balance for Better, but also those fundamentals that make the Athena Leadership Award the globally recognized honor that it has grown to become. On behalf of the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce and Sault College, I am more than delighted to ask Karen Bird to come to the stage to accept the award.
I'm going to sneak down there to get the award.
You need muscles just to lift that. I'm not usually at a loss for words. We were sitting at our table earlier and talking about today's event. And Brenda is sitting beside me, and we had started talking about, someone asked, how many years has this been going on? And I turned to Brenda and I said, do you remember that it was you and I that started this many years ago? So it's a very special day for me that this is on this occasion. You know, as I was preparing my package to submit, I do a lot of public speaking. And as you see, I didn't bring up a piece of paper. I never write anything. I just speak from my heart. And it's a whole different situation when you're speaking about yourself. I have no problem motivating somebody else or boosting them up or telling them things that get them going, but to acknowledge my own accomplishments is, I think as women in general, is hard for us to do. And as I was preparing the package, after that I was told I was nominated, I couldn't believe what I was writing down when I actually had to sit and think about all of the things that I've done, and there were so many things that I had forgotten. It was a very empowering exercise for me to acknowledge within myself the things that I've done. I just give. That's just what I do. I don't keep track of it. So to write it down, I would encourage every single woman in this room to do that this week. Take a half an hour and sit down and grab a blank piece of paper and a pen and start writing down all the things that you've ever done for yourself or for somebody else. You will have the most amazing day, week, month probably after that, because you have all these little secrets in your mind now about what a phenomenal human being you are. I want to say chimigwech and thank you to my family. I have 4 children. I'm a single mom of 4 kids. And I couldn't do anything that I do if they didn't support me, if they didn't help me. I remember I moved off my reserve. I don't know how much time. I'm just talking. I won't be much longer. I know people have to get to work. I moved off my reserve a couple of years ago, and my son, my second oldest, was very nervous about leaving the community because that's all he'd ever known, was living on reserve, and all of our families around us all the time. And we moved, and we only moved like 3 kilometers into Sault Ste. Marie, but it seemed like it was so far to him. And we were walking through the mall. It was about a year after we'd moved. We were walking in the mall, and he just stopped me all of a sudden, and he grabbed my hand, and he said, "Mom, I was really scared when we left the reserve because I didn't think we were going to be able to do it. Because I didn't think that we would be able to live somewhere else and not have our family around." And then he's facing me, and then he grabbed my other hand, and he said, "It's you. It's you, Mom. It's all you. That's why we can do it." It's amazing when your children do that, right? They can make you see the things that you don't see in yourself. This is going to go in my office where I can look at it every day. Thank you.
Congratulations, Karen. I know from being a new member on the Chamber Board, I have also experienced Karen's inspiration firsthand, and she continuously strives for balance and reminds us all that balance is gender, it's culture, it's everything. So thank you, Karen, for that consistent reminder and for continuing to just strive for balance, because it is better, as we are noting here today. You will also be receiving a free session with Cabana. So I will deliver this to your table when we're finished here. But on behalf of Anna Peltier-Dobel at Cabana Fine Photography, she is gifting you with a complimentary business portrait session. So this will go to you as well. So as we've noted, we had a great number of nominations this year for the Athena Award, which is a testament to the caliber of leadership we have here in our community. To our current and past nominees, there's great pride to be found in receiving a nomination, and although you may not have been the recipient this year, you can be nominated again in years to come. For those who chose to nominate your peers, thank you, and please continue to recognize those who make an impact in our community, who strive to achieve their goals, and who mentor and lead our future. It is one of the greatest gifts that you could give to someone. So the Chamber would like to congratulate Karen again on receiving the Athena Leadership Award, and you are now part of the elite group of Athena Leadership Award recipients. I will list a few here. We do have some in attendance, I believe. We have Diane Marshall, Rosemary O'Connor, Carmela Novello, Candy Mitchell, Ella Jean Richer, Antoinette Blunt, Mary Ellen Sadowski, Jody Rebecca DeCarbo, Catherine McCrae, Marnie Stone, Mary Pacuzzi, Donna Kinnanen, Donna Hilsinger, Debbie Amoroso, Doris Ann Ray, Susan Milne, Linda Ryan, and Monica Dale. So congratulations to all those women who have received the award in the past. We have some closing thank yous that we would like to go through, so I'm going to invite Rory Ring, the CEO of the Chamber, to join me on stage as we go through those.
Gabrielle, thanks very much. Isn't she awesome? She's total natural. We're very, very pleased to have Gabrielle join us on the board. And sorry, Francine, I missed your third response to the question. I wasn't listening. Come on. Slow on the tick. More coffee, please. So on behalf of the Chamber, I'd just like to recognize that these are not possible without the many partnerships. And we want to extend a very special thank you to the panelists, Francine, Max, Christina, and Lisa, for opening and sharing that knowledge and wisdom with us. I was captivated myself, in which we could share that with more people, in which we had more time as well to spend with these great women and with you as well. Also to Jasmine Rowley for an excellent job. She always adds a great flair to the event, and I know you mentioned that 2 years ago you were very pregnant when you did this event, and it's kind of a different perspective for you here today after living through life of raising children. We'd also like to thank the Water Tower Inn for all of their support in helping with this morning's event to bring it together, and for the great service and the wonderful breakfast. I know it was all low-cal and on everybody's diet. We do need to be treated specially once in a while. And a sincere thanks as well to the business sponsors, OLG, and Millworks for Entrepreneurship, the Sault Ste. Marie Economic Development Corporation, the Business Development Bank of Canada, and Northwood Funeral Home. A special thank you again to Sault College for Applied Arts and Technology for their generous sponsorship of the Athena Leadership Award, and for presenting it here today as it marks their 11th year that the college has partnered with the Chamber in supporting the Athena Leadership Award. We thank them very much for their continued support.